whatever fear or concern that you have, I know that it feels very true. I know that because if it didn't feel true to you, then it wouldn't be holding you back. It wouldn't dictate your life, dictate your behavior, what you think you can and cannot do. And I know that because I obviously have a bunch of them, right? And it's fun to think about those that you've overcome. The fun thing about them is when you look back, you realize how ridiculous they are. And if you don't have them, if you don't share them, then you are also able to find that completely ridiculous. So in the past, I remember no matter how many hard things I had in my life, I would never go to a therapist. I would just refuse to go to a therapist. And even though living in the States, it's more common than in Europe where I grew up. And it's so funny because there are so many different reasons of why you might not want to go. Maybe you don't want to pay, maybe you don't feel comfortable talking to a stranger or whatever that is. But mine was always that if I become famous, and it is totally an option, I just need to want it. I never really wanted it, but who knows what the future brings. I might want it in the future, and then I would become famous. And if I was famous, if I was the president or CEO of a reputable company or whatever it is, that capacity of being famous, if I am a public figure, right, then people would look into my background, they would look into my files. And then if they find out that I went to a psychotherapist, then they would declare me crazy. And I didn't want that to happen. Yeah, that was my reason for not getting the help that I could badly use in so many situations in the past. Anyway, I eventually overcame that, but only because I had a story for what I would tell the world if I become famous, and then they would dig into my background and find out, then I could tell them that counter story for why it would make sense. Okay. And so since I then had that cover story, I was able to get the help that I need when I was going through a really tough time at one of the companies that I work with. And there was extreme bullying and harassment and a lot of very uncool stuff that happened. And that affected me a lot mentally, right? And just to stay resilient and feeling safe in the work environment. And I'm so glad I did get the help that I really needed. But just thinking of like how much sooner I could have gotten that help if I didn't have that silly story. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share with you. And then I want you to really think about what crazy story that doesn't seem crazy right now, maybe for you, or actually maybe try to find a crazy story that you have from the past that might be easier to see, right? Because if it is still happening for you right now, then obviously you wouldn't find it crazy now. You would probably find it very true. And so maybe start with finding a story that you now know not to be true, but you also know that in the past you absolutely lived by it. Okay. And it absolutely dictated your behavior and your decisions in the past. Okay. And then from there, think about what stories you might be living in right now that are holding you back. And that can be very powerful. That might be the one that is holding you back from having your dream job, from having your dream salary, working on a cooler product with cooler people, whatever it is. Okay. So think about it and yeah, maybe let me know what you came up with.